What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. Vroom, vroom. So, just watched that Xbox Partner Direct. That's what it's called. Sorry. And yeah, it's a bunch of indie games, smaller games. Not really any big, super big AAA games. Mostly, I mean, the biggest game I guess was a AA game. I guess the last game was that Capcom game. They showed that before on something else. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, it wasn't too eventful. And that's the thing. If you notice what's happening in the industry, it is that if you notice what's happening in the industry, it is that the middle, the AA, the AA, single A, triple B games, the games that were considered AAA back in the day are now, kind of down a notch. Not quite AAA because the standards have been skewed by Sony shenanigans. And so now we're getting a flood of these games that aren't quite AAA, but they're the meat and potatoes of the industry. They're the bulk of what games are in the industry. And this partner preview, I think that's what it was called, is an example of that. Now this was no first party. This was all third party stuff, partners that Microsoft's giving money to get, either exclusives or, whatever. Maybe some are multi-plat, some are probably timed exclusives. I mean, they all look a little interesting. The one I didn't really care about at all was the Roblox one. I was like, yeah, first of all, I don't care about Chucky. I mean, Chucky was novel in the beginning. Now it is not. It's whatever. And so I was like, whatever. But the one game that kind of sparked my interest a little bit was the game called Alter. I think it was called Alter. Basically, it's about a bunch of clones. You play a bunch of clones, and each one has their own specific job in this kind of moving space. It's not space station because it's on a planet, but it's like a moving colony thing that looks kind of like Fallout Shelter, but a big wheel around it, so it rolls around. It's weird, which makes it interesting. And then the oops, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And then the premise is that, you have to go out, I guess, and get resources or whatever, but then you have to, I guess, choose which clone you're going to be at any particular time, and each one has different personalities and attributes. So it's interesting in that each clone is different. So each clone is basically a different person, obviously. But it's the same DNA. So they use the same base model and change the hairstyle, change the facial stuff. I guess they changed how they talk and all these things. So it's an interesting premise. I guess what'll be interesting is how the story kind of, because with that premise alone, the possibilities are just it could be the best game ever created. Because basically if y'all haven't seen it, go watch it. It's a movie called Moon by Duncan Jones. That's what's his face's son, David Bowie's son, and it's a really good movie. And it starred Sam Rockwell. I think he was the only one in it, and he played basically a clone. Now the premise of that movie was that I forget how long they lived, but every time a clone would die or whatever, they would send a new clone in basically and just keep it going forever and ever and ever. I forget how long he was on the moon, but Each clone had the knowledge that, oh yeah, I'm only gonna be here on so many shifts, and then I get to go home and see my wife and stuff. And he's been there for like 1,000 million years. Not that long, but I'm just saying. And I'm probably messing up details on that, but there's some deception in that film. And so the relation between that film and what's possible and this game and what's possible, I think the game has even more possibilities because A, it's a game, B, there's more clones, C, it's a bigger environment, D, the environment is not just where he's living, but the planet, whatever planet he's on, and maybe the ship can take off. I don't even know. So there's a bunch of kind of like, I'm intrigued kind of things going on with that game. And I gave it a little bit of time, so I was like, okay. I mean, I didn't see anything in particular that I was like, oh, I gotta go play that. You know, and none of the games on this preview weren't like, oh my gosh, that's cool, you know. This feels like more of a, like, you open up a Steam page and say what's gonna come out soon, and you look at it like, oh, that looks good, I'll try it out, you know. A realistic expectation of games, basically. You look at a game like, I'll check it out. So on Game Pass, let's go, you know. It's a bunch of games were in there like that. You know, like I said, AA, BBB games. Something that the industry needs to focus more on, because the innovation happens in this space. It doesn't happen in The Last of Us 2. There's no innovation in that. It doesn't happen in the Ghost of Tsushima 2. There's going to be no innovation. I mean, they'll add something here. Oh, now you have a glider or something. You know, something dumb. Like, oh, gee, that's innovative. Not really. So with these smaller games, you have that innovation. Like Altered, you have the premise of you're a clone. You play clones and and we'll see how the story goes. And what they kind of emphasized was you have to deal with the relationships between the clones within the kind of structure of the habitat. So I'm like, okay, it could get a little spicy, you know, because each one once again, they all have their different personalities. So if one is like, I'm a homicidal maniac, then it flips everything all upside down. You know, I'm a cannibal. You know, I mean, of course they're not gonna say that, but you know, you'll find it out like, you ate Trevor, and he was delicious. I don't know. It's all guys. Whatever. What if the clone was a woman? They'd be like, oh my gosh, it's a girl version of us. Nah, that'd be weird. But anyway, yeah, that was the Xbox showcase thing. Xbox partner preview, excuse me. There were some repeats in there. They had, I think, 2 or 3 world premieres, game premieres, basically, like never before seen. I think Altered was one of them, if I'm not mistaking. Oh, there was another one, Sleight of Hand. That was another one that was brand new. That looked interesting too. I was like, I don't quite. I mean, the graphic. I mean, it was all. I believe it was all cutscenes, but it looked really good. Like the art style and the animation. I was like, yo, that looked real good. But I guess she had kind of magic cards or something, and then dude stepped on it, and then like all the magic cracked into his eyes. I was like, I don't quite understand what this game is, but I'm interested. And that's the thing, like, it's like a lot of games in this thing, it's like, what is that? And the fact that there's a question, like the fact that you see a game and you're like, huh? Some people are like, forget it, I don't care. Or some people are like, maybe that'd be dope. That's the kind of surprise and innovation that I'm looking for in gaming, because I'm tired of seeing, oh, it's a Fortnite clone. Oh, Five Nights at Freddy's again. Oh, another Call of Duty game. Oh, you know, oh, it's another Smash Brothers. It's another Tekken game. Another Street Fighter. So it's all, you know, it's all rote and it's all. It's there's no surprises anymore in games, you know, for the most part, because all these freaking giant AAA companies, I will say the companies, not Microsoft though, they have been, I think they have been a little bit more taking chances, you know, but not Sony, not at all. They're like, okay, this sells a lot, let's make another one. That's all they do. That's why your games are so stale, because it's like, yeah, I bet you Death Stranding 2 is gonna be. It'll be alright. But it ain't gonna be nothing new. You ain't saying nothing new. I mean, it might be a little bit because, you know, Kojima, he's pretty good at doing weird stuff. But, you know, that's the only thing you could be like, oh my gosh, this is so weird. But would it be good? Who knows? But yeah, this is the industry. You know, you're gonna get these innovative, smaller games, and then you're gonna get big, bloated, run-of-the-mill, rote, been there, done that games. You know, one and done. Dad walking simulator games, sad dad games. I mean, if that's what you want to play, that's what you want to play. But sorry, I'm looking for new, looking for fresh. I'm looking for something that kind of gives me, the player, that wonder that when you first fell in love with video games, like, yo, what the hell is this? Oh my gosh. Now, I don't expect to say, oh my gosh, I never played a game like this ever in my life, because, I mean, every kind of artistic endeavor has been done, pretty much. Unless there's some new technology that affords something new. You know, it's all been done. But, you know, combining the right elements, or taking something that's, you know, not so popular and bringing it to the forefront, or taking something that's obscure, which is basically the same thing I just said. You know, bringing it to light and twisting it in a certain way that's more palatable for people who aren't into the know when it comes to certain things, minutia of certain things. Like if you like what's that game? Balaga, I forgot what it's called, but it's the poker card game. That's redundant. It's a card game, but it's based in poker. But anyway, I don't want to talk about that. But that's an example of a game that's twisted poker. It's not poker, but it uses some of the language and not rules, but suits of poker, sets, cards of poker, and makes it a different, interesting game. The Jokers are wild. No, Jokers have different powers and attributes, and it's so kind of cool. I was like, okay, you know, that's what you do. You take what's known. I mean, that in that instance, that goes against what I was just saying, but you take something known that for something else, and then you put a twist on it, and not to follow trends or anything, but, you know, a good game is a good game, regardless of the genre. If you like a certain genre, you have to make the best game in that genre in order to be like, yo, instead of being like, oh, they're just trying to be like the better game, you know? And, you know, that's the struggle of developers, is that, you know, you gotta make the best game in the genre. And these smaller games, I think it's definitely more possible with smaller games, because while there are more games in those particular genres, I think it's easier for devs to take chances, to take risks, and to create something that is not just run of the mill, but something that is known, popular, and you can add your little adobo to it and make it even better, you know? So, whatever. Anyway, my throat is gone. Sorry. Make this super short. Let me know in the comments below, and I'm all stuffed up now. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the Xbox developer preview, partnership preview, whatever it's called. Partner preview. What was your favorite game? Let me know. Comments below. And one last thing I'll say about it is that it kind of felt like a lot of Sony's recent things, except not as bad. Does that make sense? It felt like a Sony kind of flavored type of thing, because basically Sony has no first party games coming out for a whole year and more, plus the year plus. And so what we got, I think there were some repeat games from their stuff too. What we got is basically what Sony's been showing off for the whole, what they will be showing off, you know. So, you know, that's I felt that. Is that good or bad? I mean, not necessarily. And these games are so unknown that any one of them could jump off and be the next super dope hit, you know, like Helldivers 2 or like anything, you know. So with that, I think, you know, possibility is there, and the hope is there, and the reliance on AAA games to keep the industry going that's not how it's working. That's not how it's going to work. And I'm glad developers are realizing that, and they're switching lanes and they're switching gears, and they're going back to the basics to give us games, you know, not just cinematic blah blah blah, so we can watch and play. That's what Sony's games should be called, watch and plays. Because you don't play that much, you watch more than you play. Anyway, rambles. Appreciate y'all hanging out, thank you, subscribe, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Tilt the weight.